And 8:30 p.m., this fixed rope is already gone. The part of Sirach that took Rolf with it had also taken this fixed rope, and Wilco and Gerard and Marco, when they started their way down, they probably reached the spot where they were supposed to find the fixed rope so they can clip themselves to it. They could not find the fixed rope anywhere because it was dark. It was beyond 8:30 p.m. at that time, so it was difficult to locate anything only with the light of the headlamps. So Wilco says that Gerard started to go on left and Marco started to go on the right. I started to go on panic. We started to look for the fixed rope and we were not able to find it. And in the process, we decided that it's already too late, and so they decided to spend the night in a snow cave somewhere around on top of the Sirach. Now this is almost the midnight, and this is the time when the French climber Hughes was coming down from the summit, and one of the climbers did ask him as to where is your climbing partner and high altitude porter Mehban Karim. He was supposed to be with you, and he says that Karim was not feeling well, so I don't know where is he right now, and I have to go down. Now this is very sad and also of very crucial importance, because not only Hughes did abandon his high altitude porter, but he had absolutely no idea as to what has happened to him. He had no idea, did Karim had a sat phone? Did he have a radio to contact or communicate with the base camp to call in for a rescue in case he's in trouble? But Hughes was not concerned, and he was just going down without the knowledge of his climbing partner. And also along with Wilco was Cas de Gebel, also a Dutch climber, the partner of Wilco as well. And he says that I heard a loud scratching sound. I actually saw Hughes go down with a part of the Sirach as it broke loose and took Hughes with it. This was somewhere around midnight, so Hughes was also dead. Interestingly, the night that the three climbers spent in a snow cave, all of the two climbers, because obviously Gerard did not survive, Wilco and Marco had two different stories to tell. Marco says that Gerard actually sang a song, and Gerard was even singing an Italian song to Marco, and Wilco says that none of them spoke the whole night. Obviously, the climbers did have the benefit of doubt because they were not using oxygen. They had spent quite a bit of time in the death zone, so probably some of them or all of them maybe have been hallucinating, and maybe they don't remember as to what was happening, and so they do have the benefit of doubt. But this was the first incident, this was the first statement that did not coincide with each other, So the three climbers leave the snow cave at 6 a.m. in the morning, and as they're coming down trying to find the fixed rope, Wilco gets snow blinded, and he's in panic, and he just wants to get down as soon as possible. What Wilco says is that it was of primary importance for me to lower my altitude as soon as possible if I had to survive, because I already have spent one night in the death zone, and another night could have been crucial for him. So he parts ways with Marco and Gerard, and he goes on his own way. Meanwhile, Marco and Gerard starts their descent, and obviously without fixed rope, they're coming down of the bottleneck, which is very dangerous and all that. And along the curve of the Sirach, they found three Korean climbers who were entangled in such a bad shape that two of them were actually hanging upside down. And they were almost lifeless, but they were alive. This is what Wilco says, because Wilco was the first one to cross them. And he noticed that one of the climbers has a missing glove as well. So he had a spare pair of gloves, so he gives it to that Korean climber. And also it has been notified before that Marco was not in a good physical condition. He had severe frostbites on his toes already. So Gerard decided to help Marco get down to safety as well. But when Marco and Gerard cross the Korean climbers, Marco tells a completely different story. He says that the three climbers were stuck and they were hanging upside down. One was barely alive, but all three were alive at that time. So Marco says that he and Gerard actually spent 3 hours trying to help untangle the Koreans and to rescue them. As per Wilco, this is not possible because spending 3 hours trying to rescue the stranded climbers is absolutely suicidal, and this cannot be true. So Marco goes down. So he says that we were not able to help them, so we made a radio call to Camp 4 to the two Sherpas of Koreans and told them about the situation of the Korean climbers, and then we decided to go down. Pemba Sherpa, who was able to reach Camp 4 along with Cecilia and Lars, says that we have been monitoring all the rescue and the descent of the stranded climbers the next day on August 2nd, and we did not receive any such radio call, which obviously now complicates even more as to who's telling the truth. Gerard, on the other hand, decides to help Korean climbers. Marco says that I was descending down and I saw Gerard going up to the Korean climbers, and I probably thought that he is going to take a picture of the Korean climbers and all that. But actually Gerard was going up. He wanted to help the Korean climbers. So we can imagine probably they might have a bit of an argument, Marco and Gerard, as to Marco wanted to go down and Gerard insisted in helping the Korean climbers. Marco was able to descend the bottleneck, but he passed out at the bottom of the bottleneck, and this was communicated by the two ascending Sherpas who were coming up to help the Korean climbers stranded up the Surak, and they helped Marco in the rescue, and they took Marco to the Camp 4. Now in the process, Gerard was trying to help Korean climbers, and he was actually able to free all three of the Korean climbers. And this was the time when they were coming down. They were making the traverse right at the bottom of the Surak. And Pemba Sherpa was able to take a picture at 10 a.m. in the morning on August 2nd when this was all happening, and they could see actually that the three Korean climbers are coming down and, along with Gerard. And also visible on the picture, you can see there is a silhouette of a person walking on top of the Surak. This is Mehban Karim, the missing high altitude porter of the French climber Hughes. At 10 a.m. we could see Mehban Karim actually walking on top of the Surak. This is a place where nobody ever in the history of climbing has gone. Obviously, Karim had also spent the night somewhere in a snow cave alone. He didn't have a climbing partner. Any of the international climber teamed up with him. He was already lost in the action, and he survived the night. This is so dramatic and sad as well, that he was subjected to these conditions alone by himself, considering the fact that he was hallucinating and he had physical conditions as well. He spent the night somewhere in a snow cave up above the Surak, and he decides to go down. Obviously, he was not able to find the fixed rope as well, so he went wayward, going right and left, trying to find the fixed rope. In the process, he walked right on top of the Surak. This is a place from where probably he slipped. And as you can see, the second picture was taken at 7 p.m. the same day on August 2nd. And you can see that there's a trail of flowing ice, or probably an avalanche, which was probably caused by the slip of Karim. He slipped and he caused this avalanche. And this avalanche, as you can see, was coming down all the way on top of the climbers who were descending towards the bottleneck. As per Marco's statement, he says that Gerard probably died in an avalanche because the time he was making his way down the bottleneck, he could see a huge gush of ice going on his back, and he could see all the three Korean climbers and also Gerard going down with the avalanche, because he says that I saw a pair of yellow boots flowing in the avalanche, and Gerard was also wearing yellow boots. But this was not true, because right after that, Pemba says that we were able to see that Gerard was able to come down along the traverse along with three Korean climbers. And somewhere after that, there was a piece of serac that broke off and took Gerard and one of the Korean climbers. That was later, it was a couple of hours later, the time Marco has mentioned that he saw this avalanche and yellow boots flowing in it. The avalanche and the yellow boots flowing in it actually was Mehban Karim. Mehban Karim probably had slipped on top of the serac, and he was coming down with the huge gush of snow along with him. He was also wearing yellow boots. But obviously the two Korean climbers, they did actually survive. They came down to Camp 4 and they were joined by the remaining two Korean climbers, the female climber Go and Kim, the team leader of the Koreans, Kim, who had already made it to Camp 4 the previous day. But the most fascinating story of this survival is of Wilco van Rooyen.